Hi, my name is Eric Lee, and I'm here to share with you the DMC Bible reading plan for week 12. And we come to the Holy Week readings. Quick summary. First, we learned that God's time is not our time, and God's way is not our way, as it says in Isaiah 55, verse 8 to 9. Second, we need to do what we're supposed to do, despite how dark it gets. Do what we have been told to do in obedience. And finally, to pray for open eyes, open minds, and open hearts to what God is doing in our lives around us. So the first one, we come to Isaiah 53. It serves as a prologue and a prophecy, as well as a summary of what Jesus would go through during the Holy Week. In Luke 22, we see in the preparation for the Last Supper, Jesus is also preparing for the hour to come, as prophesied. And also mentioned that this is the hour of darkness power. So this time has been given to darkness to have power over him. But even in the midst of all this preparation, we see the disciples have yet to understand Jesus. In verses 24, they are arguing over who is the greatest of all in the midst of all this, and Jesus had to stop them. And in 23, we see that Jesus' time has finally come. However, here we see that everyone understands what Jesus must do. They believe that the Messiah should overthrow the Romans and re-establish the kingdom of David and make Israel a kingdom again. But that is not what Jesus and God had in mind for a Messiah to save everybody's sin and also for the world. And also you see that after Good Friday, there's what we call a preparation day, preparing for the Sabbath. And the Sabbath is also a day of rest. So here we see the people doing things to prepare Jesus just before the Sabbath comes, so that he's buried properly. No matter how dark it was, they still go ahead and do it, and you still need to rest. Because why? Easter is coming. And one interesting part about it also, we see in verse 56 at the very end, everything is done according to the commandment. And in John 11:49, Caiaphas prophesied about Jesus, where he saw him as a scapegoat, not as the Savior. In Psalms 31, we see here the ultimate contradiction, where the writer and us, the reader, can rely on God to save us in our darkest hour, but not Jesus. In fact, he had to die cut off from God so that we don't have to go through that at all in our darkest hour. And finally, in Luke 24, Easter, Jesus appears, but they still don't get it. The disciples misunderstand. They don't know what's happening, and the angels had to come to tell them what had happened. Jesus appeared to them and to share with them, but they still couldn't see him in the road to Emmaus. He was teaching them about what was supposed to happen, but they didn't get it. And then sometimes we are so caught up, on Good Friday and the bad things and the dark things that are happening, that we may even miss what God and Jesus is doing in our lives already. And sometimes when Jesus physically appears, disciples still couldn't believe their eyes because they were scared or they were overcome by the situation. So sometimes when God's already around, we may miss it. So we need to ask God to open our eyes, our minds and hearts so that we are ready for him. And finally, here's some resources, some songs for you to help you prepare for the Holy Week as you meditate on it. I hope they help you as much as they have helped me. Selah.